You've stayed in worse places for sure, right?
Yeah, barely. I mean, that was probably the bottom 10. Interesting place to stay for the evening. It was one of those that if it was priced correctly, it was totally fine. They had clean towels and
The bed was comfortable.
but the blanket did have a little bit of issues, but overall, you know, it was fine. It was really the price. We met a young couple that had booked this for $30 a night.
Which would be totally worth it then.
Would be okay.
Yeah, because we've stayed in places like this before.
We paid $104.
Ouch.
Yeah, which is a supply and demand issue. There's just nothing around here. But I think they try. It's just it's a dive house for that price. Definitely an interesting place to stay last night. Ended up being just somebody's house, and they were. I think they were a bartender at a local bar, so she came home quite late. But this morning it sounded like she was going to get sick on the way to the kitchen.
Yeah, so we just kind of did a fast exit out of there, and interesting place to stay.
It was okay. The problem was we paid $104 just because supply and demand. That's all the way around. Somebody else that we met, a nice couple, they only paid $30 a night, and that's probably worth it. But 104 is questionable. I mean, they shouldn't have charged that much, even though it was a good location for sure.
Yeah.
As far as close to Denali. But
We are super careful about staying at places and being critical of spaces and the places that we stay, because this is their livelihood, and we have stayed at worse places than this. So the place was comfortable, the bed was great, we had a good night's sleep, full access to the kitchen and bathroom and shower, but
oh, and it was okay, but the price was wrong.
yeah.
There's no way they should have charged what they charged, but it was still okay for sure. I mean, the thing is, we don't freak out, but I usually don't like staying with the owner in the house, and this was more like an Airbnb, not a bookings.com, but it was totally fine for sure. It's always interesting and it's always fun, and we should have wrote a book on it.
Yeah, and we've stayed at people's homes before all over the world. So the phenomenal thing about it is we met other people here this morning, had great conversations, and that to me is worth it in itself, because we share like-minded stories and their travels and recommendations, and we swap a lot of that. So that was fun.
Now I'll make our way to Anchorage.
So the gas prices here aren't super cheap. So Denali is showing itself a little bit. It's right there, that all white section right below my finger. Hopefully you can see it on the video camera. Denali, the Great One. We're standing in a spot where you're supposed to be able to see it, however the weather is not cooperating, but we are at the Denali South Peak viewpoint, which we're supposed to be able to see. Here's Denali North Peak. The top of Denali South is 20,320 feet tall. Denali North is 19,470 feet tall. So this is the beauty of Alaska. When we were here several years ago with our camper van, you can just pull up alongside these rivers and just set up camp for as long as you want. There's all the freedom here to set up wherever along the riverbanks, and there's endless opportunities to do this. So it's 4th of July weekend, and so it's quite busy on this specific location, but even so, there's so much space in between that you could go and you can set up camp and just stay here right along the banks of the river. It's making me reminisce about our time with our RV and bringing it up here, and we did the same thing. Tons of fun. hostel now, and it's always kind of a surprise. For me anyways, because I never see what we're booking or where we're staying, so we'll see what this place looks like. It's called the Sockeye Inn, but it's a hostel, right?
I think so, yeah. And Alaska's a little rougher in their housing, especially than we were more last minute. I mean, probably a month before. So we'll see. But this was fairly expensive also.
Last night's price did not reflect the place we stayed.
No, that should have been
a spa.
$30 at the most, yeah.
But that's okay. It's okay. We've stayed in worse places for sure, right?
Yeah, barely. I mean, that was probably the bottom 10 just because of the price more than anything else.
Yeah, but not the actual place.
Yeah, it was, I mean...
It was the woman coming out this morning that was still wasted, stumbling to the sink.
No, she was the owner. So, I mean, it wasn't just like some random resident.
Makes for a great story, right?
Yeah.
It's the adventurer travels of Bob and Gay. Here it is. Looks amazing from the outside.
You have reached your destination.
Huh. Looks newly refurbished, newly built.
We'll see. It didn't get great reviews, but...
Use our shared bathroom.
Yeah. Looks okay.
A fine room. I mean, it's a normal hotel room, and we just have a shared bathroom, which we're totally okay with. We got a full-size refrigerator, and I mean, they have laundry here. I don't need more.
One thing that we're finding, I think, is this level of bookings end up being they're putting homeless people into these hotels, which is great. You know, it gives them a place to stay, but it seems a little bit more, not necessarily what we've seen, but what we were told down there. So
Yeah.
it's
Right.
it's more that these places during COVID are filling up with or they're putting the homeless folks in here also, which is not a factor. It's just some people may.
It's a great solution for their current situation, and then they have COVID testing for the homeless here actually at this facility as well, but it's very clean. Again, you and I don't need much. Spending the afternoon walking in downtown Anchorage, Alaska to see the sights here.
More relaxed with the grizzlies now.
Right. We're used to them.